The morning light filtered softly through the sheer curtains of the Okoye family's luxurious kitchen in Abuja. Everything gleamed: polished marble countertops, stainless steel appliances, gold-accented dishes. It looked like a kitchen from a magazine. But beneath the beauty, the air was heavy, thick with quiet tension. Amanda stood by the island, carefully placing two tall glasses of freshly squeezed orange juice onto a silver tray. Her hands trembled slightly, struggling to keep steady. On the outside, she looked calm, but inside, her mind was racing. Then came the footsteps. Slow, measured. It was Kelvin. He entered the kitchen wearing his usual crisp white senator wear, clean-shaven, as though nothing in the world was wrong. But Amanda knew better. She could feel it. Something was off, very off. His eyes locked with hers for a brief moment. No warmth, no love, just an icy, unreadable stare. He looked at the tray, then at her. "You made juice," he said, voice flat. Amanda forced a small smile. "Yes, your favorite." But neither of them touched the glasses. A long, uneasy pause filled the room. Kelvin kept his gaze on the drinks, then slowly turned to check his phone. And that's when the memory slammed back into her. The night before, she had been walking past his study when she heard him whispering into the phone. His voice was low but deadly clear. "Make sure the poison dissolves completely. She must not wake up tomorrow." Amanda froze. Her blood turned cold. Her chest tightened. He was talking about her, the man she loved, the man she had been loyal to, the man whose mother she had cooked for every single day for 3 years. He wanted her dead. But Amanda didn't scream. She didn't cry. Something inside her snapped and hardened. That night, she had gone straight back to the kitchen, her heartbeat wild. Without saying a word, she removed the glass she suspected he had tampered with. Then she brought in a third one and switched them. Now, standing there, she waited, watching him, waiting to see what he would do. But just then, Tina walked in. Younger, louder, always dramatic. Kelvin's sister had never liked Amanda. From day one, she made that clear. She looked tired, but still carried herself like royalty. "Juice?" Tina asked, already reaching for a glass. "Tina, wait," Amanda said, but it was too late. Tina had already taken a sip, then another. A few seconds passed. Then Tina's hands began to tremble. The glass slipped from her grip, shattering on the floor. She clutched her throat, gasping for air. Her knees gave out. She collapsed. "Tina!" Kelvin shouted, running to her side. "Somebody call an ambulance!" Amanda didn't move. She just stood there, the untouched glass still resting on the tray. Her hands were steady now. Her face blank. Something inside her had died, but something else had awakened, and it wasn't going back to sleep. Amanda didn't come from money. She was born and raised in the noisy, dusty streets of Oshodi. After her father passed away when she was just 10, her mother, a petty trader who sold yam and onions by the roadside, did her best to raise her alone. Life was rough, but Amanda was tougher. She took up jobs after school, cleaning, tutoring, anything to help out, and still found time to study. She worked hard, pushed herself, and eventually earned a degree in accounting. She even graduated top of her class. People in her neighborhood always said, "That Amanda girl, she go make 'em one day." And for a while, it looked like she had. She met Kelvin at a business brunch in Lekki. He was the kind of man people noticed, confident, sharp, well-spoken. He knew how to own a room without trying too hard. Amanda was drawn in immediately. He said all the right things, made her feel seen, safe, wanted. He was the only son of a wealthy land developer, owned multiple properties across Lagos, drove a sleek car, wore designer shoes. lived in a smart house that practically sparkled. Kelvin wore wealth like cologne, strong, expensive, and impossible to ignore. Amanda fell hard, and fast. Within months, she moved in with him and his mother. There wasn't a wedding yet, but the way everyone treated her, it felt like one was coming. For 3 years, she lived in that house. And for 3 years, she cooked every single meal. She cooked for Kelvin. She cooked for his mother, Mama Gloria. She even cooked for Tina whenever she barged in with her high heels and her big opinions. Everyone praised her cooking, but no one praised her effort. Then things began to shift. At first, it was subtle. "Why do you come back from work so late?" Kelvin would ask. "Don't you want to be a proper wife someday?" Then came the pressure to quit her job. "You don't need to work. I earn more than enough. Focus on the house." And slowly, she gave in. Then came the comments. "You're putting on weight. You talk too much sometimes. You don't really understand this business world. Just leave that part to me." Little by little, Amanda began to shrink. Her calls with friends grew shorter. Then they stopped altogether. Kelvin made sure of that. He picked her clothes, controlled when she could go out, even told her when she should speak or stay silent. The outside world saw a perfect couple. Beautiful house, soft life, fancy events, Instagram posts with glowing captions. But behind those pictures, Amanda was fading. And Tina? Tina only made it worse. From the very beginning, she treated Amanda like a maid with a temporary visa. She'd roll her eyes, throw jabs, and call her "that girl from Oshodi." She never believed Amanda was good enough for their family. And the history didn't help. Years ago, back in university, Tina had secretly dated Amanda's ex. Amanda found out, but she said nothing. She just buried the hurt and moved on. Now, every time Tina visited the house, she reminded Amanda, without saying it, that she would never truly belong. Still, Amanda endured, because she had a plan. Over time, she started hiding little amounts of money, sold a few gold bangles, skimmed small bits from the household shopping budget, opened a secret account in her cousin's name. She told herself, "Once the Adonis Business Gala is over, I'm leaving." The annual gala was a big deal in their world. Powerful people, fancy clothes, media coverage, all eyes on Kelvin's family. Amanda knew that after the event, nobody would notice if she disappeared quietly into the night. She just needed to wait 1 more week. But what Amanda didn't realize was that someone else had already noticed. Kelvin, her sweet-talking, suited-up boyfriend. He had started watching her closely. He had seen the way she moved, the change in her eyes, the way she was slipping away. And Kelvin, just like his mother, did not like to lose. As the house buzzed with activity, tailors coming in with pins between their teeth, decorators shouting instructions, caterers testing dishes, Amanda stayed out of the way. She smiled when expected, nodded when spoken to, but inside, she was counting down the hours. Just a few more days, and she'd finally be free. She didn't know that freedom would come faster than she thought. She also didn't know that before she could leave, someone would try to kill her. And no one, not even Amanda, could have guessed that Tina would be the one to drink the poison. The ambulance arrived quickly. The house went into chaos. Tina was still alive, but barely. Her skin was cold. Her eyes rolled backward. No one knew what had gone wrong. They just knew it was bad. Amanda sat in the back of the ambulance, holding Tina's handbag like it was her own. Kelvin rode in the front, phone glued to his ear, calling his lawyer, his assistant, even a private doctor. His voice trembled, but it wasn't grief, it was fear. At the hospital, doctors moved fast. Tina was in critical condition. The toxicology team said something dangerous had entered her system. They had to flush it out quickly. The next 48 hours would decide everything. Kelvin didn't speak to Amanda, not for hours. He just paced the hallway in his blood-stained senator wear, whispering into his phone, barking low orders, avoiding eye contact. When he finally looked at her, it wasn't with concern. It wasn't even with anger. It was suspicion. Amanda met his gaze without flinching. "She'll be okay," she said softly. He didn't reply. He simply turned away, jaw tight, eyes cold. Later that evening, 2 officers arrived at the hospital. Their questions were basic, almost polite. Does Tina have any allergies? Had she taken any medication? What was she doing before she collapsed? Amanda answered like a perfect partner, calm, clear, cooperative. No one mentioned poison yet, not out loud. But on the way home, Kelvin finally spoke. His voice was low and sharp, like a knife under a smile. "Where did you get that juice?" "I made it myself," Amanda replied, eyes straight ahead. "You drink from it?" "No, I wasn't thirsty." Silence. He didn't say another word until they reached the house. That night, Amanda couldn't sleep. She lay awake in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. His words from the phone call echoed in her ears. She must not wake up tomorrow. Then the realization struck her. He thought she had switched the glasses by mistake. He believed the poison had gone to the wrong person. He assumed she had tried to kill him first. And if he tried to accuse her, he'd only expose himself. So instead, he began a quieter attack, mind games. The next morning, Kelvin greeted her like nothing had happened. He smiled, said good morning, told the house staff not to talk about yesterday. "Tina's doing well," he said casually. "She's improving." Then he removed Amanda's car keys, canceled her ATM cards, fired one of the maids, the only one who used to chat with her. He was closing in, quietly, softly, but with intention. Amanda didn't flinch. If Kelvin wanted to play a game, she would play too, but on her terms. She began noting details, saving messages from his phone when he left it unattended. She made excuses to stop by his study. She even started recording their conversations, hiding her old phone in the folds of her wrapper. This wasn't just about surviving anymore. She needed proof. She needed evidence. One afternoon, Amanda returned to the hospital. The hallway was quiet. Machines beeped softly in Tina's room. Tubes ran to her nose. Her skin looked almost gray under the fluorescent lights. Still unconscious. Amanda walked in slowly and sat beside the bed. She held Tina's hand, small, cold, still. She didn't speak for a long time, just stared. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, trembling at the edges, she spoke. "You were never my sister, Tina." She looked down, eyes stinging. "You hated me. You mocked me. You treated me like I didn't belong here." Her grip tightened slightly. "You laughed behind my back. You once slept with the only man I ever loved before Kelvin. I knew. I just never said anything." A tear slid down her cheek. "But I didn't want this for you." She looked at Tina's face, blank, still, no reaction. "That poison, it wasn't meant for you. But maybe this, lying in this bed, maybe it will make you see what I've been living with." She stood up, wiped her face quickly, then glanced toward the hallway to make sure no one was watching. "I don't know if you'll wake up, Tina, but if you do, I hope you remember everything." Amanda paused at the door. One last look. Then she walked away, head high, shoulders straight. She wasn't the timid girl Kelvin's family once controlled. Not anymore. A full week passed since the incident. Tina was still in the hospital, slowly getting better. But back at the house, things changed. Kelvin's grip on Amanda tightened. She no longer had access to her phone. Her emails were blocked. He became more guarded, more secretive. But strangely, he still hadn't confronted her. Then, one morning, the driver dropped Amanda off at the supermarket. Just as she stepped down from the car, a woman brushed past her, then stopped. She wore a worn wrapper, her face hidden behind oversized sunglasses and a scarf. Her voice came low and rushed. "Madam, please, I no get time. I need to talk to you." Amanda's heart jumped. It took a moment, but then she recognized the woman. Amaka, the former housemaid who vanished from the house months ago without warning. "What are you doing here?" Amanda asked, nervous. "You know Kelvin." "I was fired because I saw something," Amaka said quickly, her eyes darting nervously. "And it's not just about the poison." Amanda blanked. "What do you mean?" Amaka leaned in closer. Her voice dropped. "Years ago, before you came, Oga had one business partner, Chief Onwudinjo. They fought over one big land deal, serious money. Then one day, the man just died. People said heart attack, but that night I cleaned Oga's study. I saw blood on the carpet." She swallowed. 2 glasses were there. One was broken. Amanda froze. "You told anyone?" "I tried," whispered. "Next day I was fired. My younger brother got arrested for something he didn't do. I kept quiet. Until now." Amanda turned her face away for a second. Her chest tightened. This wasn't just about her anymore. Why now? Amaka's voice broke slightly. "Because of what happened to Madam Tina. And because I have a daughter now. I can't keep silent." She slipped something into Amanda's hand. A small flash drive. "Copy of Oga's old phone backups. Maybe Effie'd help you." Then, without another word, Amaka disappeared into the crowd. That night, Amanda didn't sleep. She tossed and turned, hearing Amaka's voice again and again. She had wanted to believe Kelvin was just broken, that maybe the man she fell in love with was still somewhere inside. But not anymore. Now she knew the truth. Kelvin wasn't just cruel. He was dangerous, calculated, and this wasn't the first time. Still, the guilt stayed with her. Tina hadn't deserved to be in that hospital bed. Yes, she was cold. Yes, she was unkind. But Amanda never wanted her to die. The next morning, something in Amanda snapped. She sat across from Kelvin at the breakfast table, calm on the outside, but icy cold inside. "I got a call," she said, lying smoothly, "from someone who knows what really happened to Chief Onwudinjo." Kelvin didn't blink. He just stared at her with that same cold, unreadable face. "You should be careful what you say," he replied, "especially when your hands aren't clean either." Amanda met his gaze, steady and unflinching. "Try me." He smirked, slow and dark, like a man who thought he still had control. "If I go down, I'm not going alone." Amanda didn't say another word. She stood, turned, and walked out of the room. That afternoon, a sleek gray car rolled into the compound. A man in a sharp, tailored suit stepped out and asked to see her. "I'm here as a friend," he said gently, shutting the door behind him. "Let's not make this messy. My client wants peace." He handed her a brown envelope, thick, heavy, life-changing. "And this," he added, sliding out a crisp set of documents, "is a non-disclosure agreement. You sign it, take the money, and leave quietly. No court, no police, no noise." Amanda looked down at the cash. With it, she could disappear, start over in another city, another life. But something inside her refused. A fire that no longer feared Kelvin, a voice that finally refused to be quiet. "No," she said plainly. Toby raised an eyebrow. "You do realize what you're risking, right?" Amanda looked him dead in the eye. This time, he would be the one afraid. That same evening, Amanda returned to the hospital. Tina was awake. She looked pale, drained, but her eyes were wide open, alert, and full of confusion. When she saw Amanda, she stiffened. "Why are you here?" she asked in a low, hoarse whisper. Amanda walked in slowly, pulled the chair closer, and sat down. "I didn't mean for it to be you," she said, "but you drank the juice meant for me." Tina's eyes widened in disbelief. "You poisoned me?" Amanda shook her head, tears threatening. "No, Kelvin did." Tina was silent. Her expression didn't change. Then Amanda began to talk. She told her everything about the phone call she overheard, the glass she switched, Amaka's confession, the old business partner, the flash drive, all of it, even her own guilt. "I know you never liked me," Amanda said quietly, "and maybe you never will, but I swear on my mother's life, I never wanted this for you." Tina looked away for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, cracked. "He's always controlled everything, even me, even our mother. I knew there was something dark about him, but I didn't think he could go this far." A tear slipped from the corner of her eye. "I should have treated you better," she whispered. "All those years I was proud and stupid." Amanda reached for her hand. They sat there like that, two women who had once stood on opposite sides of everything, now quietly united by pain, by betrayal, and by the truth. And in that stillness, a silent decision passed between them. They were going to take Kelvin down together. The night of the gala arrived with all the grandeur the Okoye family was known for: bright lights, flashing cameras, and high society guests draped in lace, silk, and richly embroidered agbadas. The grand ballroom of the Lagos Continental Hotel sparkled like royalty had taken over for the evening. Kelvin stood at the entrance, dressed in a deep navy velvet agbada, his face glowing under the camera lights. He laughed, shook hands with politicians and CEOs, posed for pictures with socialites. To anyone watching, he looked untouchable, confident, composed, unshaken by any rumors. He hadn't seen Amanda yet. And when she finally walked in, the entire room paused. She wore a floor-length gold gown, hand-beaded from neckline to hem. Her makeup was soft and flawless. Her hair was swept into an elegant updo that made her look regal. She walked slowly, like she owned the room, because in that moment, she did. Kelvin caught sight of her from across the room. His practiced smile faltered just for a second. Then he walked over. "You look stunning," he said in a low voice. Amanda smiled back, controlled and gracious. "Thank you, dear." He blinked, a bit thrown off. She was too calm, too collected. He thought she'd accepted the offer, thought she'd taken the money, but something in her eyes made his stomach shift. "I'm glad you came," he added, trying to sound in charge. "I wouldn't miss it for anything," she replied, her tone laced with meaning. Upstairs, in a quiet private lounge, Tina sat with a nurse and two plain-clothed officers. She looked thinner, paler, but her eyes were clear now, focused. She watched the gala from behind the glass, waiting. Then the speech began. Kelvin took the stage, holding a gold-plated microphone. Flashbulbs went off. The room applauded. "Tonight," he began smoothly, "we celebrate legacy. The Okoye name stands for excellence, sacrifice, and vision. My late father built his empire with integrity, and I'm proud to carry on that dream." He spoke of honor, of truth, of family values. But before he could finish, a shift occurred at the back of the hall. 3 uniformed police officers walked in, calm, confident, direct. Whispers rippled through the room like wind through dry grass. Amanda took a small step back, heart pounding. One of the officers walked up the stage. "Mr. Kelvin Okoye," he announced loudly, "you are under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and the suspected murder of Chief Eze Onwudinjo." The entire hall went silent. Not a phone buzzed, not a fork clinked. Kelvin froze, his mouth slightly open. The officer handed him a warrant. Cameras were still recording. He turned slowly, first to the crowd, then to Amanda. His eyes burned with fury. "You think this is justice," he hissed, low but sharp. "You think this makes you clean." Amanda didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. As the officers moved to cuff him, Kelvin let out a bitter smile. "This isn't over," he said. "You think I'm the monster? I'm not the only one." He turned his head sharply, eyes locked on the balcony above. "Ask her," he shouted. "Ask your precious sister-in-law what she's been hiding. Ask her about Daddy." All eyes turned toward the upper floor. Tina stood at the railing, fully visible now, frozen. Then, slowly, she began to descend the stairs. The whispers grew louder. Guests parted as she stepped forward. Amanda's chest tightened. She didn't know what was coming next. Tina walked up to the stage, stood beside the officer, and faced the crowd. Her voice was clear and steady. "Yes," she said, "our father wasn't the man you all believed he was." The room fell still again. Tina looked around the hall, taking in the stunned faces. "When I was in secondary school, I caught him with one of our housemaids. She was crying. I asked what happened. She wouldn't say, but I knew." She inhaled deeply, then continued. "I told Kelvin. I thought he would help, but instead, he told me we had to protect the family name." She turned to her brother. "But it was never about protecting anyone. You didn't care about justice. You wanted control, and you became worse than him." Kelvin let out a dry, bitter laugh. "You stayed quiet for years. Don't act pure now." Tina stepped forward and slapped him across the face, loud, firm, public. "You poisoned everything," she said, voice cracking, "even the truth." Tears gathered in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. The officers dragged Kelvin away, his eyes never leaving the room, never leaving Amanda. She stood still, watching. When the room finally erupted, cameras flashing, murmurs growing into full conversations, Amanda turned and walked away, past the stunned guests, past the glittering chandeliers, past the table where her name had once been placed. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Kelvin was gone. Tina had spoken the truth. And for the first time in 3 long years, Amanda was finally free. 3 weeks after the gala, Amanda zipped up the last of her 2 suitcases. The house that once felt like a prison disguised as luxury was now just a building, walls and windows holding stories she no longer owed anything to. The staff didn't say much as she left, but their eyes followed her, filled with quiet respect. They had seen her break in silence. Now they were watching her rise. She didn't pack much, just clothes, books, her laptop. She left behind the jewelry, the designer shoes, the photos. She didn't need souvenirs from a man who tried to end her life. Amanda moved into a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki Phase 1. It wasn't grand, it didn't sparkle, but it was hers. No CCTV cameras, no watchful maids, no one questioning where she went or what she wore. And that first night, she slept. Really slept. Within a few weeks, Amanda registered a small NGO, Voices of Grace Initiative. It was something she had once scribbled in a journal during university, A safe space for women who needed to start over, emotionally, physically, financially. She brought in 2 staff members and began hosting weekly support circles. They came in slowly at first. A teacher hiding bruises from her students. A teenage girl forced into marriage at 16. A housemaid fired after speaking up about abuse. Amanda didn't just listen as a founder. She listened as someone who had lived it. Every story made her stronger. Meanwhile, Tina was healing too. Her health was improving, but the scars inside ran deeper. She had spent years protecting a last name she barely understood, only to realize it was built on silence. Then, one Monday morning, Tina appeared on a popular Nigerian breakfast show. She wore a plain black gown, no earrings, no lashes, no filters. Looking directly into the camera, she said, "For years, I was taught to stay quiet, to smile through what hurt, but I'm done staying quiet. I'm not just an Okoye, I'm a woman who's choosing truth." She spoke of their father, of the maids, of Kelvin, and of her own silence. The interview went viral. Some people praised her courage. Others dragged her for disgracing her family. But Tina didn't care. Not anymore. That evening, she called Amanda. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," she said, "but I wanted to thank you for not letting me die." There was a long pause. Then Amanda replied, gently, "You're welcome, and thank you too for finally standing up." They didn't become best friends overnight, but there was no more hate, no more bitterness. Sometimes they shared tea. Sometimes they didn't talk for weeks. But when they did see each other, they nodded, like survivors of the same war. Amanda had changed. She walked straighter now, spoke with more clarity, made decisions without second-guessing herself. And people noticed. Women who once pitied her now came to her for guidance. At a conference one day, a girl no older than 20 walked up to her and said, "Auntie Amanda, because of you, I left. I'm safe now. I'm even back in school." Amanda smiled deeply, not out of pride, but peace. She had found herself again. Not the girlfriend who gave too much, not the woman trapped in a house that wasn't hers, but the one who survived, and then rose. That morning was quiet. No blaring horns, no shouting, just birds outside her window. Sunlight spilled into Amanda's small sitting room. She sat cross-legged on the floor, barefoot, wrapped in a simple wrapper, holding a warm mug of ginger tea. She took a slow sip, breathed in the peace. No one calling her name, no one asking where she was going, no one watching, just her. Just now. She looked out the window. The sky was glowing gold. The rooftops shimmered. It wasn't a mansion, but it was home. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it for a while, fingers hovering. But she didn't answer. Not because she was afraid, but because she didn't owe anyone her peace. She smiled, took another sip. And for the first time in a long, long time, she felt light. Not because life was perfect, but because she had chosen herself. She had found her voice, and this time no one would silence it. Her eyes drifted back to the rising sun as her heart whispered, "Not all poisons are in bottles. Some are in silence, but I'm not quiet anymore." She smiled again, and the day began. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.